The reading of the Book of Revelation from Kenneth E. Wuest Translation of the Bible, with the Hebrew words of Yahweh and Yeshua inserted where applicable. A revelation possessed by Yeshua HaMashiach, which Yahweh the Father gave to him for the purpose of making known to his bondslaves things which in the nature of the case necessarily must come to pass in their entirety shortly. And he made them known, having sent them through the agency of his messenger to his bondslave John, who is now declaring in writing the word of Yahweh and the testimony given by Yeshua HaMashiach, as many things as he saw. Spiritually prosperous is he who reads in the worship assembly of the local church, and spiritually prosperous are those who hear the words of this prophecy and observe the things which in it have been written and are on record, for the strategic epical season is imminent. John, writing to the 7 assemblies, the ones in Asia, sanctifying grace to you and tranquilizing peace from him who is and who was and who is coming, and from the 7 spirits which are before his throne, and from Yeshua HaMashiach, the trustworthy, dependable witness, the firstborn of the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. To him who loves us and set us free from our sins by means of his blood, and who constituted us a kingdom, priests to his Yahweh and Father, to him is the glory and the power forever and ever. Consider this, he comes with the clouds, and every eye shall observe him, with recognition and understanding. Also those who were such that they pierced him, and all the people of the earth shall beat their breasts in anguish because of him. So is it to be. As for myself, I am the Alpha and the Omega, says the Yahweh, the one who is and who was and who is coming, the omnipotent one. As for myself, I, John, your brother and fellow participant in the tribulation and kingdom and patience which are in Yeshua, came to be in the island of Patmos because of the word of Yahweh and the testimony concerning Yeshua, to which I bore witness. I entered into a different experience in the sphere of the light, his absolute control on the Lord's day, and heard behind me a voice, a great one, like a trumpet, saying, that which you see, write at once in a book, and send it directly to the 7 local assemblies, to Ephesus, and to Smyrna, and to Pergamos, and to Thyatira, and to Sardis, and to Philadelphia, and to Laodicea. And I turned around for the purpose of seeing the voice, of what sort it was that was engaging me in conversation. And having turned around, I saw 7 golden lampstands, and in the midst of the lampstands one like a son of man, clothed with a garment reaching to the feet, and a gold belt around him at the breast. And his head and his hair were as white wool, white as snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire, and his feet were like burnished brass, where it has been refined in a smelter. And his voice was like a sound of many waters. And he has in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth there proceeds a sword, double-edged, sharp, and his face was like the sun when it shines in its strength. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet like a dead man. And he laid his right hand upon me, saying, Stop fearing. As for myself, I am the first and the last and the living one, and I became dead. And consider this, I am alive forever and ever, and I have the keys of death and of the unseen. Write at once, therefore, the things you saw, and the things which are, and the things which are destined to take place after these aforementioned things. The mystery of the 7 stars which you saw upon my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands, the 7 stars, are the messengers of the 7 assemblies, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 assemblies. Chapter 2. To the messenger of the assembly in Ephesus, write at once. These things says he who is holding fast the 7 stars in his right hand, he who is walking about in the midst of the 7 golden lampstands. I know with absolute clearness your works and toil and steadfast endurance and fortitude under trials, and that you are not able to endure evil men, and you have put to the test those who say they are apostles and are not, and you found them to be false. And you have steadfast endurance and fortitude under trials, and you endured persecution because of my name, and you have not become weary. But I have this against you, your love for me, that earliest love you abandoned. Be remembering, therefore, from where you have fallen, and at once have a change of mind, and the early works performed directly, or else I am coming to you and will remove your lampstand out of its place unless you have a change of mind. But this you do have. You hate the works of the Nicolaitans, which works I also hate. He who has ears, let him hear at once what the Spirit is saying to the assemblies. To the person who gains the victory, I will give to him the right to eat of the tree of life, which is in the paradise of Yahweh. And to the messenger of the assembly in Smyrna, write at once. These things says the first and the last, he who became dead and lived again. I know with absolute clearness your tribulation and poverty, but you are wealthy, and I know with absolute clearness the slander against believers that emanates from those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. Stop being afraid of these things which you are about to be suffering. Consider this. The devil is about to be throwing some of you into prison in order that you may be tested for the purpose of determining what good or evil there may be in you. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be becoming increasingly faithful through these repeated testings to the extent of suffering a martyr's death, and I will give you the victor's crown pertaining to life, eternal life. He who has ears, let him hear at once what the light is saying to the assemblies. He who gains the victory shall positively not be harmed by the second death. And to the messenger of the assembly of Pergamos, write at once. These things says he who has the sharp two-edged sword. I know with absolute clearness where you settled down and have your dwelling place, where the throne of Satan is located. Yet you are holding fast my name and did not deny your faith in me, even in the days of Antipas, my witness, my faithful one, my truthful one, who was murdered among you, where Satan settled down and has his dwelling place. But I have a few things against you, because you have in that place men holding the teaching of Balaam, who taught Balak to place an enticement to sin before the sons of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit fornication. Thus, as for you, you also have men who are holding the teaching likewise of the Nicolaitans. Therefore, have a change of mind at once. But if you do not, I am coming to you quickly, and will war against them with the sword of my mouth. He who has an ear, let him hear at once what the light is saying to the assemblies. To the person who gains the victory, I will give to him the manna which has been hidden, and I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a name which has been permanently inscribed, new in quality, a name which no individual knows with absolute clearness except the person who receives it. And to the messenger of the assembly in Thyatira, write at once. These things says the Son of Yahweh, he who has eyes like a flame of fire, and whose feet are like burnished brass. I know with absolute clearness your works and love and faithfulness and ministration and steadfast endurance and fortitude under trials, and your works which last ones are more than the first. But I have this against you. You are tolerating that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess and who teaches and seduces my bondslaves to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed to idols. And I gave her a respite in order that she might have a change of mind, and she is not desirous of changing her mind so as to come out of and escape from her sin of fornication. Consider this. I am throwing her into a bed of tribulation, which she will have instead of her bed of fornication. Also, those who together with her are participants in the same sin, that of fornication, I am throwing into great tribulation, if they do not have a change of mind, so as to come out of and escape from her deeds. Also, her children I will kill with death, and all the assemblies shall come to know experientially that as for myself, I, he who searches minds and hearts, I will give to each of you in accordance with your works. But to you I am saying, to the rest who are in Thyatira, as many as are not holding this teaching, who are of such a character that they did not come to know experientially the deep things of Satan, as they say, I am not placing upon you another burden. However, that burden which you have, hold fast until that time, whenever I may come. And he who gains the victory and safeguards my works from violation by performing them until the end, when I come, I will give to him authority over the nations, and he shall shepherd them with an iron scepter. As vessels made of clay, they are shattered, as I also have received from the presence of my Father, and I will give him the star of the morning. He who has ears, let him hear at once what the light is saying to the assemblies. Chapter 3. And to the messenger of the assembly in Sardis, write at once these things, says he who has the 7 lights of Yahweh and the 7 stars. I know with absolute clearness your works, that you have a reputation that you are alive, and yet you are dead. Be becoming watchful and alert and stabilize at once the remaining things which were about to die. For I have found no works of yours that have been brought to a state of completeness in the sight of my Yahweh. Be remembering, therefore, in what way you have received the truth as a permanent deposit, in what way you heard it, and be safeguarding it and have a change of mind at once. If then you do not watch, I will come like a thief, and you will by no means know what kind of an hour I will come upon you. But you have a few names in Sardis who did not defile their garments, and they shall walk in fellowship with me in white garments, because they are worthy. He who gains the victory shall in that manner be arrayed in white garments, and I will positively not erase his name from the scroll of the life. And I will openly confess his name before my Father and before his angels. He who has ears, let him hear at once what the light is saying to the assemblies. And to the messenger of the assembly in Philadelphia, write at once these things, says the glorious one, he who is genuine, he who has the key of David, he who opens and no one shall shut, and who shuts and no one opens. I know with absolute clearness your works. Consider this, I have given you as a permanent possession a door which has been permanently opened, which no one is able to close, because you have but a small amount of power, and you safeguarded my word by carefully observing it, and you did not deny my name. Consider this. I give to you certain ones of the synagogue of Satan, certain ones of those who profess to be Jews and are not, but are lying. Consider this. I will make them that they shall come and prostrate themselves at your feet and offer you their homage and humble respect. And they shall come to know experientially that as for myself, I loved you. Because you safeguarded the word by observing it, which to observe requires the endurance which is mine. As for myself, I also will safeguard you from the hour of the trial, which is destined to be coming upon the entire inhabited earth, to put to the test those who dwell upon the earth. I am coming quickly, beholding fast that which you have, in order that no one takes your victor's crown. The one who gains the victory, I will make him a pillar in that inner sanctuary of my Yahweh. And he shall by no means go out any more, and I will write upon him the name of my Yahweh, and the name of the city of my Yahweh, the Jerusalem, new in quality, which comes down out of heaven from my Yahweh. Also my name, the one new in quality. He who has ears, let him hear at once what the light is saying to the assemblies. And to the messenger of the assembly in Laodicea, write at once these things, says the Emmet, the truth, the witness who is trustworthy and dependable, the originating source of the creation of Yahweh. I know with absolute clearness your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. Would that you were cold or hot. I would that you are cold or hot. Thus, because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I am about to vomit you out of my mouth. Because you are saying, I am wealthy in the world's goods and have gotten riches and have need of not even one thing. And because you do not have a clear and absolute knowledge of the fact that as for you, you are the wretched one and an object of pity, and are poverty stricken and blind and naked, I counsel you to buy from me gold refined in the fire, in order that you may be wealthy, and white garments, in order that you may clothe yourself, and in order that your shameful nakedness may not be made manifest, and eye salve to rub on your eyes, in order that you may be seeing. As for myself, as many as I am fond of, I reprove, so as to bring out conviction and confession, and I discipline, correct, and guide. Be constantly zealous, therefore, and have a change of mind at once. Consider this. I have taken my stand at the door and am politely knocking. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in to him, and I will dine with him, and he himself will dine with me. The one who gains the victory, I will give to him the privilege and honor of sitting with me on my throne, as I gained the victory and sat down with my Father on his throne. He who has ears, let him hear at once what the light is saying to the assemblies. Chapter 4. After these things I saw, and considered this, a door in heaven that had been opened and now stood open. And the voice, the first one that I heard, which was like a trumpet, breaking silence and engaging me in conversation, saying, Come up here at once, and I will show you things which must of the necessity in the nature of the case take place after these things. Immediately I found myself to be in the absolute control of the light, a continuation of the experience into which John was brought in chapter 1, verse 10. And consider this, a throne was there in heaven, and there was one seated on the throne, and he who was seated was in appearance like a jasper stone and a carnelian. And encircling the throne there was a ring of light, which was like an emerald in appearance. And encircling the throne there were 24 thrones, and upon the 24 thrones elders sitting, clothed in white garments, and upon their heads golden crowns of victory. And out from the throne there are proceeding lightnings and voices and thunders. And 7 blazing torches are burning before the throne, which are the 7 lights of Yahweh. And before the throne there was as it were a glassy sea like crystal. And in the midst of the throne and encircling the throne, there are four living beings, full of eyes in front and in back. And the first living being was like a lion, and the second living being like a calf, and the third living being has the face like that of a man, and the fourth living being was like an eagle when it is flying. And the four living beings have each one of them 6 wings apiece and are full of eyes round about and within, and rest they do not have day and night, saying, Glory, 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 Lord Yahweh, the omnipotent one, he who was and he who is and he who is coming. And whenever the living beings give glory and respect and thanksgiving to the one who is seated on the throne, to him who lives forever and forever, the 24 elders fall down before the one seated on the throne and worship him who lives forever and forever. And they placed their crowns of victory before the throne, saying, Worthy are you, O Yahweh, and our Yahweh, to receive the glory and the respect and the power. Because as for you, you created all things, and because you willed it, they existed and were created. Chapter 5. And I saw upon the right hand of the one seated on the throne a scroll which was inscribed on both sides and sealed shut with 7 seals. And I saw an angel, a strong one, proclaiming with a great voice, Who is worthy to open the scroll and to break its seal? And no one was able in heaven, nor even upon the earth, nor even under the earth, to open the scroll, nor so much as to be looking upon it. And I kept on weeping audibly and profusely, because no one was found worthy to open the scroll and to be looking upon it. And one of the elders says to me, Stop weeping. Consider this, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Scion of David, gained the victory, and thus is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals. And I saw in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living beings, in the midst of the elders, a lamb standing in appearance like a lamb that had been slain, bearing the wounds of the cross in his glorified body, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which eyes are the 7 lights of Yahweh, and have been sent forth on a commission into all the earth. And he came, and he has taken the scroll out of the right hand of him who is seated on the throne. And when he took the scroll, the 4 living beings and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each one holding a harp and golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sing a song new in quality, saying, You are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seal, because you were slain and you redeemed to Yahweh through your blood men out of every tribe and language and people and nation, and constituted them to our Yahweh a kingdom and priests, and they shall reign as kings on the earth. And I saw and I heard a voice of many angels who encircled the throne, and a voice of the living beings and of the elders, and their number was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands, saying with a great voice, "Worthy is the Lamb who has been slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and might and respect and glory and eulogy." And every created thing which is in the heaven and upon the earth and under the earth and upon the sea and all the things that are in them, I heard saying, to him who sits upon the throne and to the Lamb be the eulogy and the respect and the glory and the power forever and ever. And the four living beings kept on saying, "So be it." And the elders fell down and worshiped. Chapter 6. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seven seals, and I heard one of the four living beings saying in a voice like the sound of thunder, "Becoming." And I saw, and consider this, a white horse, and he who is seated upon it has a bow, but no arrows. And there was given to him a victor's crown, and he came forth conquering, and in order to conquer. And when he opened the second seal, I heard the second living being saying, "Becoming." And there came forth another horse, flame-colored blood red. And to the one seated upon it there was granted permission to take the peace from the earth, and that they shall slaughter one another. And there was given to him a great sword. And when he opened the third seal, I heard the third living being saying, "Becoming." And I saw, and consider this, a black horse, and the one seated on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard, as it were, a voice in the midst of the four living beings, saying, "A koinex of wheat for a denarius, and 3 of barley for a denarius. And do not begin to damage the olive oil and the wine." And when he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living being saying, "Becoming." And I saw, and consider this, a pallid horse, greenish yellow in color, and the one who is seated upon it named the Death, and the unseen kept on following with him. And there was given to them authority over 1/4 of the earth, to kill with the sword and with famine and with pestilence and by means of the wild beasts of the earth. And when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who were slain because of the word of Yahweh and because of the testimony which they were maintaining. And they cried with a great voice, saying, "How long, O Master, the glorious one and the dependable one, are you not judging and exacting vengeance for our blood and from those who dwell upon the earth?" And there was given to each one of them a white robe, and it was told them that they should rest yet for a little time, until there shall also be fulfilled the martyrdom of the fellow bondslaves and their brethren who were destined to be killed, as they themselves also were killed. And I saw when he opened the sixth seal, and there occurred an earthquake, a great one, and the sun became black as sackcloth made of hair, and the entire moon became as blood, and the meteors of heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree casts its unripe figs. when it is being shaken by a strong wind, and the heaven was removed like a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth and the princes and the chiliarchs and the rich men and the strong men and every slave and free man hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and they say to the mountains and to the rocks, fall on us at once and hide us quickly from the presence of him who is seated upon the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, because the day, the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to stand. Chapter 7. After this, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, firmly holding the 4 winds of the earth, lest the wind keep on blowing upon the land, or upon the sea, or upon any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the rising of the sun, having a seal of the living Yahweh. And he cried with a great voice to the 4 angels to whom there was given authority to injure the land and the sea, saying, do not begin to injure the land, nor the sea, nor the trees, until we shall have sealed the bondslaves of Yahweh upon their foreheads. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, and 144,000 were sealed out of every tribe of the sons of Israel. From the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. From the tribe of Reuben, 12,000. From the tribe of Gad, 12,000. From the tribe of Asher, 12,000. From the tribe of Naphtali, 12,000. From the tribe of Manasseh, 12,000. From the tribe of Simeon, 12,000. And from the tribe of Levi, 12,000. From the tribe of Issachar, 12,000. From the tribe of Zebulun, 12,000. From the tribe of Joseph, 12,000. From the tribe of Benjamin, there was sealed 12,000. And after these things I saw, and consider this, a great multitude which no one was able to count, out of every nation and tribe and people and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and having palm branches in their hands. And they cry out with a great voice, saying, the salvation is to be ascribed to our Yahweh, who is seated upon the throne, and to the Lamb. And all the angels were standing in a circle around the throne, and the elders and the 4 living beings. And they fell down before the throne upon their faces and worshipped Yahweh, saying, the eulogy and the glory and the wisdom and the thanksgiving and the respect and the power and the might be to our Yahweh forever and ever. And one of the elders answered, saying to me, these who are clothed in white robes, who are they, and from where did they come? And I said to him, my Lord, as for you, you know. And he said to me, these are they who come out of the tribulation, the great one, and they washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Because of this are they before the throne of Yahweh and rendered sacred service to him day and night in his inner sanctuary. And he who is seated upon the throne shall spread a tent over them to shelter them. They shall no longer hunger, nor even shall they thirst any longer, nor shall the sun nor any scorching heat strike upon them. Positively not, because the Lamb in the midst of the throne shall shepherd them and shall lead them to the springs of water of life. And Yahweh shall wipe away every tear out of their eyes. Chapter 8. And when he opened the seventh seal, there came a silence in heaven for about 1/2 hour. And I saw the seven angels who had taken a stand before Yahweh, and who were standing there. And there was given to them seven trumpets. And another angel came and stood over the altar, holding a golden censer. And there was given to him much incense, in order that he might add it to the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar which is before the throne. And the smoke of the incense went up together with the prayers of the saints out of the hand of the angel before Yahweh. And the angel has taken the censer, and he filled it with the burning coals out of the fire on the altar, and he threw them, the burning contents of the censer, into the earth. And there followed thunders and voices and lightnings and an earthquake, and the seven angels who have the trumpets prepared themselves for the purpose of sounding their trumpets. And the first sounded his trumpet, and there followed hail and fire mixed together in a shower of blood, and they were thrown into the earth, and the third part of the earth was burnt up, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grasses was burnt up. And the second angel sounded his trumpet, and a mass as large as a great mountain, burning with fire, was thrown into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea died, the ones having life. And the third part of the ships was destroyed. And the third angel sounded his trumpet, and there fell out of heaven a great meteor, blazing like a torch, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the springs of the waters. And the name of the meteor is the wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many of the men died by reason of the waters, because they had become bitter. And the fourth angel sounded his trumpet, and the third part of the sun was dealt a blow, also the third part of the moon, also the third part of the stars, in order that the third part of these might be darkened, and to the end that day might not be illuminated for a third part of its duration, and in like manner the night. And I saw and I heard an eagle flying in mid-heaven, saying with a great voice, Woe, woe, woe to those who are dwelling on the earth, because of the remaining voices of the trumpet of the three angels who are about to be sounding their trumpets. Chapter 9. And the fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a meteor of the heaven which had fallen into the earth, and to him there was given the key of the shaft leading down to the bottomless place. And he opened the shaft of the bottomless place, and there arose smoke out of the shaft like smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the lower atmosphere were darkened by reason of the smoke of the shaft. And out of the smoke there came grasshoppers into the earth, and there was given to them power like the power which the scorpion of the earth possesses. And it was told them that they should not injure the grasses of the earth, nor any green vegetation, nor any tree, only such men as do not have the seal of Yahweh on their foreheads. And to them there was given a charge that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torture is like the torture of a scorpion when it strikes a man. And in those days the men shall seek death and shall by no means find it, and they shall long to die, and death flees from them. And the resemblances of the grasshoppers were similar to those of horses which have been prepared for war, and upon their heads were as it were victors' crowns, which resembled gold, and their faces were like the faces possessed by men, and they were having hair like the hair of women, and their teeth were like those of lions, and they were having a breastplate like a breastplate of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of moving chariots, of many horses running into battle. And they have tails like those of scorpions and stings, and in their tails there resides the power to injure the men 5 months. They have over them as king the angel of the bottomless pit. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, the destroyer. And in Greek, he has a name, Apollyon, the destroyer. The one woe has passed. Consider this, there comes yet a second woe after these things. And the sixth angel sounded his trumpet, and I heard a voice out of the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, before Yahweh, saying to the sixth angel who has the trumpet, set free at once the four angels who have been bound at the river, the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were set free who had been kept in readiness for the hour and day and month and year, in order that they should kill the third part of the men. And the number of the armies of the horsemen was 200 million. I heard the number of them. And after this manner I saw the horses in my vision, and those seated upon them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and of brimstone. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of the mouths there proceeded fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three plagues there was killed the third part of men, by the fire and the smoke and the brimstone which proceedeth out of their mouths. For the power of the horses is in their mouths and in their tails, for their tails were like snakes having heads, and by means of them they caused injury. And the rest of the men, those who were not killed by these plagues, did not have a change of mind, which would cause them to abandon the work of their hands, which the result that they would not worship the demons and the idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and wood, which are not able to be seeing, nor to be hearing, nor to be walking. Neither did they have a change of mind regarding their murderers, nor their magical arts, nor their fornications, nor their thefts, which would cause them to abandon them. Chapter 10. And I saw another angel, a powerful one, descending out of heaven, clothed with a cloud, and the colored halo, shining with a radiance, was over his head, and his face was like the sun, and his feet were like pillars of fire, and he has in his hand a little scroll, which was unrolled, and he placed his foot, the right one, upon the sea, and his left one upon the land. And he cried with a great voice, just as a lion roars. And when he cried, the seven thunders uttered their own voices. And when the seven thunders uttered their voices, I was about to begin to be writing. And I heard a voice out of the heavens saying, place a seal at once upon the things which the seven thunders said, and do not begin to write them. And the angel whom I saw standing on the sea and on the land raised his right hand to heaven and placed himself under oath, swearing by the one who lives forever and forever, who created the heaven and the things in it, and the earth and the things in it, and the sea and the things in it, and there should be no longer any delay or respite, but in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he is about to begin to be sounding his trumpet, then the mystery of Yahweh has been fulfilled, even as he proclaimed this mystery as good news to his own bondslaves and the prophets. And the voice which I heard out of the heaven, I heard again speaking with me and saying, Be going and take at once the scroll, the one that has been opened, which is in the hand of the angel who is standing on the sea and on the land. And I went off to the angel, saying to him that he should give me at once the little scroll. And he says to me, Take it at once and eat it up, and it shall make your stomach bitter, but in your mouth it shall be sweet as honey. And I took the little scroll out of the hand of the angel and ate it up, and it was in my mouth like honey, sweet. And when I ate it, my stomach was made bitter. And they say to me, It is a necessity in the nature of the case for you again to prophesy concerning peoples and nations and languages and many kings. Chapter 11. And there was given to me a reed like a stick, and one said, Be arising and measure at once the inner sanctuary of Yahweh, the glorious place, and the glory of glories, and the altar, and those who are worshiping in it. But the court which is outside of the inner sanctuary, leave out of your calculations, and do not begin to measure it, because it was given to the nations. And the city set apart for the worship and service of Yahweh, they shall trample in contempt and disdain 42 months. And I will give authority to my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two lampstands who have taken their stand before Yahweh, oh, have taken their stand before the Lord of the earth. And if, as is the case, anyone desires to injure them, fire proceeds out of their mouth and consumes their enemies. And if, as is the case, anyone shall desire to injure them, in this manner it is a necessity in the nature of the case for him to be killed. These have authority to shut the heaven to the end that no rain may be falling during the days of their prophecy, and they possess authority over the waters to be transforming them to blood, and to strike the land with every plague as often as they shall desire. And whenever they finish their testimony, the wild beast, the one who ascends out of the bottomless place, shall make war with them and gain the victory over them and shall kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie upon the street of the city, the great one, which is of such a character that it is called allegorically Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. Their Yeshua was crucified, and they of the people and tribes and languages and nations keep looking at their dead bodies 3 days and 1/2. And they do not permit their dead bodies to be laid in a tomb. And those who dwell on the earth rejoice over them and make merry. And gifts they shall send to one another, because these two prophets tormented those who live upon the earth. And after 3.5 days, the breath of life from Yahweh entered them, and they stood on their feet. And a fear, a great one, fell upon those who observing them with interest and purpose, and they heard a voice, a great one, out of heaven, saying to them, "Come up here at once." And they ascended to heaven in the cloud, and their enemies viewed them with interest and purpose. And at the same hour there occurred an earthquake, a great one, and the 10th part of the city fell. And there were killed in the earthquake 7,000 persons. And the rest became terror-stricken and gave glory to Yahweh of heaven. The second woe is past. Consider this, the third woe is coming shortly. And the 7th angel sounded his trumpet, and it came to pass that there were voices, great ones, in the heaven, saying, "The kingdom of the world has come into the possession of our Yahweh and his Hamashiach, and he shall reign as king forever and ever." And the 24 elders who are before Yahweh, seated on their thrones, fell upon their faces and worshipped Yahweh, saying, "We give thanks to you, O Yahweh, the omnipotent one, the one who is and who was, because you assumed your great power and reigned as king. And the nations became angry, and your wrath has come, and the time of the dead to be judged, and to give reward to your bondslaves, the prophets, and to the saints, and to those who fear your name, to the small and to the great, and to destroy those who are destroying the earth, and the inner sanctuary of Yahweh, the one in heaven, was opened, and the ark of his testament was seen in his inner sanctuary. And there came lightnings and voices and thunders and an earthquake and a hailstorm, a great one. Chapter 12. And there became visible a miraculous portent, a great one in the heaven, a woman arrayed with the sun, and the moon was under her feet, and upon her head was a victor's crown of 12 stars, and she was with child, and she cried out, suffering pangs, in pain to give birth. And there came visible another miraculous portent in heaven. And consider this, a dragon, a red one, a great one, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his heads 7 royal crowns, and his tail sweeps away the third of the stars of heaven, dragging them away by force, and he threw them into the earth. And the dragon took his stand before the woman about to give birth, in order that whenever she would give birth, he might destroy her child. And she gave birth to a son, a male child, with the particular qualities of masculinity, power, and vigor, who is destined to be shepherding all the nations with a scepter of iron. And her child was snatched up to Yahweh and to his throne. And the woman fled into the uninhabited region, where she was there a place where She has there a place which is in a state of readiness, having been so prepared by Yahweh, in order that there they might be providing her with food 1,260 days. And there arose a war in heaven. Michael and his angels went forth to do battle with the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels, yet they did not have the power to win out. Neither was there found any longer place for them in heaven, and the dragon, the great one, was thrown down once for all, the snake, the ancient snake, the one called the devil, slanderer, and the Satan adversary, he who deceives the entire inhabited earth. He was thrown into the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. And I heard a voice, a great one, in the heaven, saying, Now there has come to pass the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our Yahweh and the authority of his Hamashiach, because he who accuses our brethren has been thrown down once for all. He who accuses them before our good day and night, before our Yahweh day and night. And they themselves gained the victory over him through the blood of the Lamb and through the word of their testimony. And they did not consider their lives precious, and thus come to love them to the extent of death. They were willing to die a martyr's death. Because of this, be rejoicing, O heavens, and those who are dwelling in them. Woe to the land and the sea, because the devil went down to you, having wrath, a great wrath, knowing that he has but a little time. 13. Chapter 13. And when the dragon saw that he was thrown into the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. And there was given to the woman the 2 wings of the great eagle, in order that she might be flying into the uninhabited region, into her place, where she is being provided with food, there a time and times and 1/2 a time, safe from the presence of the snake. And the snake threw water like a river out of his mouth after the woman, in order that he might sweep her away with the river. And the earth went to the help of the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river which the dragon threw out of his mouth. And the dragon was angry with the woman and went off to wage war with the rest of her children, those who keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony of concerning Yeshua. And he stood upon the sand of the sea. And I saw a wild beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads, and upon his horns 10 royal crowns, and upon his heads names, the essence of which is impious and reproachful speech, injurious to the divine majesty of deity. And the wild beast whom I saw resembled a leopard, and his feet were like those of a bear, and his mouth resembled a lion's mouth. And the dragon gave him the dragon's miraculous power, and his throne and great authority. And one of his heads appeared to have been mortally wounded, the throat having been slashed, and his death stroke was healed. And the whole earth followed after the wild beast in amazement. And they worshiped the dragon because he gave the authority to the wild beast. And they worshiped the wild beast, saying, "Who is like the wild beast? And who is able to go to war with him?" And there was given to him a mouth, speaking great things, and things injurious and reproachful to the divine majesty of deity. And there was given him authority to operate 42 months. And he opened his mouth in a slanderous attack against Yahweh, to his face, to defame his name and his dwelling place, and those who dwell in heaven. And there was given to him permission to make war with the saints and to gain the victory over them. And there was given to him authority over every tribe and people and language and nation. And they shall worship him, all who dwell upon the earth, everyone whose name does not stand written in the scroll of the life, the scroll belonging to the Lamb who has been slain, in the mind and purpose of Yahweh. Since the time when the foundations of the universe were laid, and who is looked upon by Yahweh as the slain lamb at present. If, as is the case, anyone has ears, let him hear at once. If, as is the case, anyone leads others into captivity, he goes into captivity. If, as is the case, anyone kills with a sword, it is a necessity in the nature of the case for him to be put to death by a sword. Here is the endurance and fidelity of the saints. And I saw another wild beast, and of the same character, coming up out of the earth. And he was having two horns like a lamb, but he was hissing like a dragon. And the authority of the first wild beast, all of it, he exercises in his sight. And he causes the earth and those who dwell on it to worship. And he causes the earth and those who dwell on it to worship the wild beast, the first one whose death stroke was healed. And he performs great miracles, the purpose of which was to attest the divine source of the words uttered by the one performing the miracle, even to the extent that he causes fire to be descending out of the heaven into the earth in the sight of the men. And he deceives those dwelling on the earth by means of the miracles which it was given him to perform in the sight of the wild beast, saying to those who are dwelling on the earth that they should make an image of the wild beast derived from his likeness, the wild beast who has scars of the death stroke made by the sword, and yet who came to life. Note, he was actually dead. And there was given to him the ability to give animation to the image of the wild beast, and to the end that also the image of the wild beast should utter words, and that it should cause as many as do not worship the image of the wild beast to be put to death. And he causes all those who are lowly in station, and those who are poverty stricken, and those who are free men, and those who are slaves, to be given a mark of identification upon their hand, the right one, or upon their forehead, to the end that no one should be able to buy or sell except he who has the mark of identification consisting of the name of the wild beast, or the number which stands for his name. Here is wisdom. He who has understanding, let him calculate at once the number of the wild beast. For the number is that of man, the human race, and his number is 666. Chapter 14. And I saw and considered this, the Lamb standing on the hill of Zion, and with him 144,000, having his name and the name of his Father permanently inscribed on their foreheads. And I heard a voice out of the heaven, like a sound of many waters, and like a sound of great thunder. And the sound which I heard was like that of harpists playing upon their harps, and they are singing a song new in quality before the throne and before the four living beings and the elders. And no one was able to learn the song except the 144,000, those who had been redeemed out from the earth. And these are they who were not defiled with women in any illicit way, for they are chaste individuals. These are they who follow with the Lamb wherever he may be going. These were redeemed from among men, first fruits to Yahweh and the Lamb. And in their mouth was not found a lie. They are without blemish. And I saw another angel flying in the mid of heaven, having a message of good news, eternal in its character, to proclaim as glad tidings to those who live upon the earth, and to every nation and tribe and language and people, saying with a great voice, Fear Yahweh, for once and at once give him honor, give him glory, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him at once, who made the heaven and the earth and sea and springs of water. And another angel, a second one, followed, saying, It has fallen, it has fallen, Babylon the Great, which has caused all the nations to drink of the wine of her fornication, and the wrath of Yahweh which accompanies it as its retribution. And another angel, a third one, followed them, saying with a great voice, If, as is the case, anyone worships the wild beast and his image, and receives a mark of identification upon his forehead or upon his hand, he shall also himself drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which has been poured out unmixed in the cup of his anger. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of glorious angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever, and they do not have rest day and night. Those who worship the wild beast and his image also, as is the case if anyone receives the mark of identification which consists of his name. Here is the endurance of the saints, namely those who keep the commandments of Yahweh and the truth which they have in Yeshua. And I heard a voice out of heaven saying, Write at once. Spiritually prosperous are the dead who die in Yahweh from this time forth. Yes, says the light, to the end that they may rest from their labors, for their works accompany them. And I saw and consider this a cloud, a white one, and upon the cloud one sitting in the appearance like a son of man, having upon his head a crown of victory, a golden one, and his hand a sickle. In his hand a sickle, a sharp one, and another angel came out of the inner sanctuary, carrying a great, crying with a great voice to him who is seated on the cloud, thrust in your sickle at once and reap quickly, because the hour to reap has come. For the reason that the harvest of the earth has become dry and thus perfectly ripe. And he who is seated on the cloud thrust his sickle upon the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the inner sanctuary, the sanctuary in heaven, having also himself a sickle, a sharp one. And another angel came out of the altar who has authority over the fire. And he cried with a great voice to the one who has the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in your sharp sickle at once, and gather at once the bunches of the grapes of the vine of the earth, for its bunches of grapes have become ripe. And the angel thrust his sickle into the earth, and he gathered the vintage of the earth and threw it into the winepress of the wrath of Yahweh, the great winepress. And the winepress was trodden outside of the city, and there came out of the winepress blood as far as to the bridles of the horses, to a distance of 1,600 stadias. Chapter 15. And I saw another supernatural portent, an attesting miracle in the heaven, a great and marvelous one, 7 angels having 7 plagues, the final ones, final because in them has been brought to its intended end, the wrath of Yahweh. And I saw something resembling a glassy sea mingled with fire, and those who have come off triumphantly out of the meshes of the wild beast and his image and the number which signifies his name, standing on the glassy sea, having harps of Yahweh. And they are singing the song of Moses, the bondslave of Yahweh, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are your works, O Yahweh, omnipotent. Just and dependable are your ways, O King of the nations. Who shall not fear, O Lord, and glorify your name? Because you only are glory, for all the nations shall come and worship before you, for your judicial acts, characterized by righteousness, have been shown openly. And after these things I saw, and there was opened the inner sanctuary of the tent of the testimony in heaven. And there came out of the inner sanctuary the 7 angels, the ones having the 7 plagues, arrayed in linen, clean, shining, and girded around the breast with golden girdles. And one of the 4 living beings gave to the 7 angels 7 golden bowls filled with the wrath of Yahweh, who lives forever and forever. And the inner sanctuary was filled with smoke, arising from the glory of Yahweh and from his might. And no one was able to enter the inner sanctuary until the 7 plagues of the 7 angels should be brought to an end. Chapter 16. And I heard a great voice out of the inner sanctuary saying to the 7 angels, be going on your way and be pouring out the 7 bowls of the wrath of Yahweh into the earth. And the first went off and poured out his bowl into the earth, and there came a foul and pernicious, super braided sore upon the men who have the mark of identification of the wild beast and who worship his image. And the second poured out his bowl into the sea, and it became blood like that of a corpse. And every living creature died, and things in the sea. And the third poured out his bowl into the rivers and springs of the waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the water saying, "You are just, you who are the one who is and who was, the glorious one, because you administered justice in the case of these things, for they poured out saints' and prophets' blood. The blood to them you have given to drink. They are those who deserve this." And I heard the altar saying, "Yes, O Lord Yahweh, omnipotent, dependable, and just are your judgments." And the fourth poured out his bowl upon the sun, and there was given to him the power to burn the men with fire. And the men were burned with a great scorching heat, and they reviled the name of Yahweh, who has the power over these plagues, revealing him the impious and reproachful speech, revealing him with impious and reproachful speech, injurious to his divine majesty. And they did not have a change of mind, with the result that they would give him glory. And the fifth poured out his bowl upon the throne of the wild beast, and it came to pass that his kingdom was darkened, and they chewed their tongues because of the pain, and they reviled the Yahweh of heaven because of their pains, and because of their sores with impious and reproachful speech, injurious to his divine majesty, and did not have a change of mind with reference to their words, which would cause them to abandon them. And the sixth poured out his bowl upon the river, the great Euphrates, and its water was dried up, in order that the road of the kings of the sun rising might be prepared. And I saw come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the wild beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, spirits, free moral intelligences without a physical body. 3 of them, unclean in appearance, like frogs. They were spirits of demons, performing attesting miracles, which spirits go out to the kings of the whole inhabited earth for the purpose of gathering them together for the war of the great day of Yahweh the omnipotent. Consider this: I come like a thief. Spiritually prosperous is he who is on the alert, and who keeps his garments, lest he be walking about unclad, and they be observing his shame. And they gathered them together to the place which is called in Hebrew Armageddon. And the seventh poured his bowl upon the lower atmosphere, and there came out a great voice out of the inner sanctuary from the throne, saying, "It has come to pass and is now an accomplished fact." And there came lightnings and voices and thunders, and there came an earthquake, a great one, of such a nature that an earthquake of that kind has not occurred since the time man came to be upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake, so great. And the city The great one was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and Babylon the Great was rendered before Yahweh for the purpose of giving her the cup of the wine of the fury of his wrath. And every island vanished, and mountains were not found, and hail, a great one, each hailstone having the weight of a talent, descends out of heaven upon men. And the men reviled Yahweh with impious and reproachful speech, injurious to his divine majesty of deity because of the plague of the hail, for the blow it inflicted is great, very great. Chapter 17. And there came one of the seven angels who have the seven bowls, and he spoke with me, saying, Come here, I will show you the condemnation and punishment of the prostitute, the great one who is sitting on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and those who dwell on the earth were made drunken by the wine of her fornication. And he carried me away into an uninhabited place in my spirit, and I saw a woman sitting on a wild beast, a scarlet one, filled with names reproachful and injurious to the divine majesty of deity, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and was adorned with gold and precious stone and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominations and the unclean things of her fornication. And on her forehead a name has been written in a permanent inscription: Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and the abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman intoxicated, the source of her intoxication being the blood of the saints and the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And I wondered, seeing the woman with a great wonder. And the angel said to me, Why do you wonder? As for myself, I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the wild beast who is carrying her, who, the wild beast, has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The wild beast whom you saw was and is not, and is destined to be ascending out of the bottomless place. And he goes off into perdition, and those who dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names have not been permanently inscribed upon the scroll of the life from the time of the foundation of the universe. When they see the wild beast, how that he was and is not and shall come. Here is the intelligence that has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 hills. The woman is seated upon them. And there are 7 kings. The 5 fell. The one is, the other one has not yet come. And whenever he comes, it is a necessity in the nature of the case for him to continue for a brief time. And the wild beast who was and is not is himself also the 8th king, and is out of the 7 as a source. And into perdition he goes off. And the 10 horns which you saw are the 10 kings of the kind which did not yet receive royal power, but they will receive authority as kings 1 hour with the wild beast. These have one purpose, and they give their power and authority to the wild beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall gain the victory over them, because he is Lord of lords, and King of kings, and they shall also gain the victory who are with him, the called, and the chosen, and the faithful, and the truthful. And he says to me, the waters which you saw, where the prostitute is sitting, are peoples and multitudes and nations and languages. And the 10 horns which you saw, and the wild beast, these shall hate the prostitute, and shall make her a ruin, and reduce her to nakedness. And her flesh they shall eat, and they shall consume her with fire. For Yahweh did put it into their hearts to do that which was in his mind, and to come to one mind, and to give their royal power to the wild beast, until the words of Yahweh should be accomplished. And the woman whom you saw in the city, the great one which possesses imperial power over the kings of the earth. Chapter 18. After these things I saw another angel coming down out of heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his glory. And he cried with a mighty voice, saying, It has fallen, it has fallen, Babylon the Great, and it has become a dwelling place of demons, and a haunt of every unclean spirit, and a haunt of every unclean bird, and the object of detestation, because as a result of the wine of the wrath that fell upon her, because of her fornication, all the nations have fallen, and the kings of the earth committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth, as a result of her power and luxury, became wealthy. And I heard another voice out of the heavens saying, Come out of her at once, my people, in order that you may not be a joint participant with her in her sins, and in order that you may not receive of her plagues. For her sins have piled up in a coherent mass, so that they touch the heaven. And Yahweh remembered her crimes. Render to her at once, as she herself also rendered to others, and pay back double according to her works. In the cup in which she mixed, mix for her at once a double allotment. In the measure in which she glorified herself and lived in luxury, in that measure render to her torment and sorrow, because in her heart she is saying, I am enthroned as a queen and am not a widow, and sorrow I shall positively not see. Because of this, in one day shall her plagues come, death and sorrow and famine, and in fire she shall be completely consumed. For mighty is Yahweh, who has handed her over for judicial punishment. And they shall weep audibly and beat their breasts in grief over her, the kings of the earth who with her committed fornication and lived in luxury, when they are looking upon the smoke of her burning, standing at a distance because of the fear of her torment, saying, Woe, woe, the city, the great city Babylon, the city which is mighty, because in 1 hour your judicial punishment has come. And the merchants of the earth weep audibly and are grieved over her, because their cargo no one any longer buys in the market. A cargo of gold and silver and precious stone and pearls and fine linen and purple cloth and silk and scarlet cloth and every kind of citron wood, and every kind of an article made of ivory, and every kind of an article made of most costly wood, and of brass, and of iron, and of marble, and cinnamon, and spice, and incense, and perfume, and frankincense, and wine, and olive oil, and the finest grade of wheat flour, and grain, and cattle, and sheep, and horses, and four-wheeled carriages, and persons of individuals, and souls of men. And the fruit which your soul longed after has departed from you, and all the luxurious things and the brightly shining things have perished from you, and no longer will you see them at all. The merchants who dealt these things, those who became wealthy by her, shall stand at a distance because of the fear of her torment, weeping audibly and grieving, saying, Woe, woe, the city, the great city, the city arrayed in fine linen and purple and scarlet garments, adorned with gold and precious stone and pearl, because in 1 hour such great wealth has been ruined. And every sailing master and everyone who sails to a place, and mariners, and as many as earned their living by the sea, stood at a distance and kept on crying out, seeing the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like the city, the great city? And they threw dust upon their heads and kept on crying out, weeping audibly and grieving, saying, Woe, woe, the city, the great one, in which all those who have ships on the sea were made wealthy by reason of her abundance of costly things, because in 1 hour she was ruined. Rejoicing over her, O heaven, and you saints and apostles and prophets, because Yahweh pronounced judgment for you against her. And one angel, a mighty one, took up a stone like a great millstone and hurled it into the sea, saying, In this manner, with a violent rush, shall Babylon, the great city, be thrown down, and shall never again be found. And a sound of harpers and musicians and flute players and of trumpet players shall never again be heard in you. And every craftsman of every craft shall never again be found in you. And the sound of a millstone shall never again be heard in you. And the light of a lamp shall never again shine in you. And a voice of a bridegroom and a bride shall never again be heard in you, because your merchants were the great men of the earth, because with your magical arts all the nations were led astray, and in her there was found blood of prophets and saints and of those who have been slain on the earth. Chapter 19. After these things I heard a great sound, like that of a great multitude in heaven, saying, Alleluia! Praise Yahweh! The salvation and the glory and the power belong to our Yahweh, because dependable and righteous are his judgments. For he administered justice upon the prostitute, the great one, who is of such a character that she corrupted the earth with her fornication, and he has exacted a penalty from her because of the blood of his bondslaves. And a second time they said, Alleluia, and her smoke ascends forever and ever. And the 24 elders and the four living beings fell down and worshiped Yahweh, who is seated upon the throne, saying, Alleluia. And there came out a voice from the throne saying, Be giving praise to our Yahweh, all those who are his bondslaves, those who fear him, those who are of a lowly station in life, those who are great. And I heard a sound like the voice of a great multitude, and like the sound of many waters, and like the sound of mighty thunders, saying, Alleluia, because the Lord, our Yahweh, the Omnipotent, has assumed his royal authority. Let us be rejoicing, and let us be glad, and let us give glory to him at once, because the wedding of the Lamb has come, and his bride has made herself in fine linen, shining, bright, clean, for the fine linen is the righteous acts of the saints. And he says to me, right at once, spiritually prosperous and fortunate are those who have been invited to the banquet of the wedding of the Lamb. And he says to me, these are the dependable words of Yahweh. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he says to me, See to it that you do not do so. I am a fellow bondslave of yours and of your brethren who hold the testimony of Yeshua. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yeshua is the light, the disposition or characteristic of prophecy, the fourth telling of Yahweh's word. And I saw the opened heaven, and consider this, a horse, a white one, and he who is seated upon it, who is called faithful and dependable. And in righteousness he administers justice and makes war, and his eyes were a flame of fire. And upon his head there were royal crowns, many of them. He has a name which has been written, which no one knows except he himself. And he is clothed with a garment which has been stained with blood, and his name has been called, and the name is on record, the word of Yah. And the armies which are in heaven kept on following him in a steady procession, rank after rank, upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, shining bright, clean. And out of his mouth there proceeds a sword, a sharp one, in order that with it he should strike down the nations. And he himself shall shepherd them with an iron scepter, and he himself treads the winepress of the wine of the wrath of the anger of Yahweh, the Omnipotent. And he has upon his garment and upon his thigh a name which has been written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried out with a great voice, saying to all the birds that fly mid heaven, Come, be gathered together to the banquet of the great one of Yahweh, in order that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of arches, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of those who sit on them, and the flesh of free men, and also of slaves, and of small and great. And I saw the wild beasts and the kings of the earth and their troops gathered together for the purpose of engaging in battle with him who is seated on the horse and with his army. And the wild beast was seized, and with him the false prophet who performed the attesting miracles before him, by which he deceived those who received the mark of identification of the wild beast and those who worship his image. The two were thrown alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone, and the rest were killed with the sword of him who is seated upon the horse, which sword proceeds out of his mouth. And all the birds gorged themselves with his flesh. Chapter 20. And I saw an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key to the bottomless place, and a great chain upon his hand. And he seized the dragon in one fell swoop, the snake, the ancient snake who is the devil and the Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. And he threw him into the bottomless place and locked and sealed it over him in order that he should not deceive the nations any longer, until the 1,000 years have been brought to an end. After these things, it is a necessity in the nature of the case for him to be set free for a brief period. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and authority to administer justice was given them. And I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of the testimony they bore of Yeshua, and because of the word of Yahweh. And I saw those who were such that they did not worship the wild beast, nor his image, and did not receive his mark of identification upon their forehead and hand. And they lived and reigned as kings with Yeshua 1,000 years. And the rest of the dead did not live until the 1,000 years were brought to a close. This is the resurrection, the first one. Spiritually prosperous and glory is he who has a share in the first resurrection. Over these, the second death does not have authority, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Yeshua HaMashiach, and they shall reign as kings with him 1,000 years. And whenever the 1,000 years are finished, the Satan shall be set free from his prison and shall go forth to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together for the war, their number being as the sand of the sea. And they went up over the breadth of the earth and encircled the camp of the saints and the city, the beloved one. And fire came down out of heaven and consumed them. And the devil, Halil, the one who deceives them, was thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone, where both the wild beast and the false prophet are. And they shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a throne, a great white one, and him who is seated on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled, and place was not found for them. And I saw the dead, the great and the small, standing before the throne, and the scrolls were opened, and another scroll was opened, which is the scroll of the light. And the dead were judged on the basis of the things that stand written in the scrolls according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead who were in it, and the death and the unseen gave up the dead who were in them. And each one was judged according to their works, and death and the unseen were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire, and whoever was not found recorded in the book of light was cast into the lake of fire. Chapter 21. And I saw a heaven new in quality, and an earth new in quality. For the first heaven and the first earth passed away, and the sea does not exist any longer. And the city, the glorious city, Jerusalem, the one new in quality, I saw coming down out of heaven from Yahweh, having been prepared as a bride who has been adorned for her groom. And I heard a voice, a great one, out of the throne saying, Consider this, the tent of Yahweh, the glorified body of the Lord Yeshua, in which he lives, is with men. And he shall live in a tent with them, and they themselves shall be his people. And Yahweh himself shall be with them, and shall wipe out every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be any longer mourning, nor crying, nor pain, for the former things passed away. And he who is seated upon the throne said, Consider this, I make all things new in quality. And he says, Write at once, because these words are trustworthy and dependable. And he said to me, They have come to pass and stand accomplished. As for myself, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the originating cause, and the one who brings things to their consumption. Co- uh, eh, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the originating cause, and the one who brings things to their consummation. As for myself, I will give to him who is thirsty out of the spring of the water of the life as an undeserved gift. He who gains the victory shall inherit these things, and I will be his Yahweh, and he himself will be my son. But the cowardly and the unbelievers and those defiled with that which is abominable, and murderers and prostitutes, and those who practice magical arts, and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And there came one of the seven angels who have the seven bowls filled with the seven plagues, the final ones, and spoke with me, saying, Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. And he carried me off in my spirit to a mountain great and lofty, and showed me the glorious city, Jerusalem, coming out of heaven from Yahweh, having the glory of Yahweh, its splendor and radiance as a luminary, a light-giving body, was like a stone which is most precious, like a stone of crystal clear jasper, having a wall great and high, having 12 large gates, and at the gates 12 angels, the names written upon them, which are the names of the 12 sons of Israel. And the east on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city has 12 foundations, and upon them 12 names of the apostles of the Lamb. And he who is speaking with me was having as a measuring instrument a golden reed, in order that he might measure the city and its gates and its wall. And the city is laid out in the form of a square, and its length is equal to the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed 1,500 miles on each side. Its length and breadth and height are equal. And he measured its wall 216 feet in height, using the measuring system of mankind, which was that used by the angel, and the material of which its wall was composed was jasper, and the city was pure gold, like crystal clear. The foundations of the wall of the city have been adorned with every kind of precious stone. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third a chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth diox, the sixth sardius, the seventh kairos light, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th Christophorus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst, and the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Each one of the several gates was one pearl, and the broad avenue of the city was pure gold, like transparent glass, and an inner sanctuary I did not see in it, for the for Yahweh, the omnipotent is its inner sanctuary, and the Lamb. And the city has no need of the sun nor of the moon to illuminate it, for the glory of Yahweh illuminated it, and its lamp is the Lamb. And the nations shall walk by means of its light, and the kings of the earth bring their glory into it. And its gates shall by no means be locked during the day, for night shall not be there. And they shall bring the glory and the respect of the nations into it, and there shall positively not enter it anything unclean, and he who makes an abomination and a lie, except those written in the scroll of the life of the Lamb. Chapter 22. And he showed me a river of water of life, sparkling like crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yahweh and of the Lamb. And he showed me a river of water of light, sparkling like crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yahweh and of the Lamb. In the midst of its broad avenue, and on the side and on that side of the river was a tree of light, bearing 12 fruits, yielding its fruit each month. And the leaves of the tree were for the restoration of the nations. And every curse shall exist no longer. And the throne of Yahweh and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his bondslaves shall render him sacred service. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be on their foreheads, and there shall be night no longer. And they do not have need of the light of a lamp, nor of the sun, because Yahweh shall shed light upon them, and they shall reign as kings forever and ever. And he said to me, these words are trustworthy and dependable. And Yahweh of lights, their human lights, as informed by the Ruach Hakodesh. Of the prophets sent his messengers on a commission to show to his bondslave things which of necessity must come to pass shortly. And consider this, I am coming soon. Spiritually prosperous is he who keeps the words of the prophecy of this scroll. And I, John, am he who is hearing and seeing these things. And when I heard and saw, I fell down to worship before the feet of the angel who was showing me these things. And he says to me, see it, that you do not do so. I am a fellow bondslave of yours and of your brethren, the prophets, and of those who are keeping the words of this scroll. Worship Yahweh. And he says to me, do not begin to seal up the words of the prophecy of this scroll, for the strategic, epical time is imminent. He who is unrighteous, let him practice unrighteousness still. And he who is morally polluted, let him pollute himself still. And he who is righteous, let him practice righteousness still. And he who is glorious, let him be made glory still. Consider this, I am coming soon, and my reward is with me to render to each one according to his work. As for myself, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the originating cause, and the one who brings to completion. Spiritually prosperous are those who wash their robes in order that theirs shall be the authority over the tree of the light, and in order that they may go through the gates into the city. Outside are the dogs and those who practice magical arts, and the fornicators and the murderers and the idolaters, and everyone who is found and practices falsehood. I, Yeshua, sent my messenger to testify these things to you in the local assemblies. As for myself, I am the root and the offspring of David, the star, the bright one, the morning star, and the light, and the bride are saying, Becoming. And he who hears, let him say, Becoming. And he who is thirsty, let him be coming. He who is desirous, let him take at once the water of light graciously. It is I who am testifying to everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this scroll. If anyone adds to them, Yahweh shall add to him the plagues which stand written in this scroll. And if anyone shall take away from the words of this scroll of containing the prophecy, Yahweh shall take away his portion from the tree of the light and from the glorious city, from the things which stand written in this scroll. He who testifies these things says, Surely I am coming soon. Alleluia. Becoming Lord Yeshua HaMashiach. The grace of the Lord Yeshua be with you all.